CO2 which passes into the blood. Blood is rich in CO2 is called as a venous blood. The venous blood brings CO2 to the lungs where the CO2 is diffused into the lungs and the lungs discharge it into the atmosphere. Respiration is which involves exchange of gases between the atmosphere and blood and the cells. Pulmonary ventilation. Pulmonary ventilation is the inspiration and expiration of air between the atmosphere and lungs. External expiration, exchange of the gases between the atmosphere and lungs, that is the blood gains O2 and losses CO2. Internal expiration. Internal expiration involves exchange of gases between the blood and tissue cells. The blood gives CO2 and receives CO2 from the tissues. The respiratory system consists of a nose, pharynx, that is throat, larynx, also called as a voice box, and trachea, called as a windpipe, bronchi, and the lungs. But structurally, the respiratory system consists of two parts. The upper respiratory part, which refers to the nose, pharynx, and the associated structures. The lower respiratory tract refers to the larynx, trachea, bronchi, and the lungs. The respiratory system consists of a nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and the lungs. But structurally, the respiratory system consists. Part of the respiratory system is a nose. The nose consists of an external part and the internal part in the side of a skull. The nasal bone forms a bridge of a nose which holds its fixed position. The nose performs functions. It receives the olfactory stimuli. It large hollow resonating chambers modify speech sounds. The pharynx. Pharynx is the tube-like structure about 5 inches in length. It lies superior to the larynx and posterior to the nasal and oral cavity. Walls of the pharynx are composed of skeletal muscles and are linked with the mucous membrane. The pharynx provides a passage for food and air and also serves as a resonating chamber for speech sounds. It also shows a presence of tonsils which helps to eliminate the foreign invaders by the immunological reaction. The third part of the respiratory system is the larynx, also called as a voice box. This is a short passage which connects the larynx and pharynx with the trachea. It lies between the fourth to sixth cervical vertebra. The larynx is composed of the 9 pieces of the cartilage. The 3 single cartilage are thyroid cartilage, epiglottis or epiglottis cartilage, and the sarcoids. The 3 pair cartilage are the space between two lungs is called as a mediastinum. Thank you. Is bronchi. The bronchi commences at the 5th thoracic vertebra. The right bronchus is a shorter and a wider tube and assume as a more vertical position. It is 2.5 cm in length. The right bronchi immediately after entering the right lungs gives off a branch. The branches continues to divide into lung tissues. The left bronchi is narrower and longer. It is about 5 cm long. The next part is a bronchioles. The bronchioles divides into the smaller and smaller bronchi called as a bronchioles. These bronchioles do not have the cartilage in their walls. Initially, they are composed of muscle tissues, fibrous tissues, and elastic tissues with an inner lining of a cubical epithelium. As the tubes become smaller, fibrous and muscular tissues deeper, and the cubical epithelium is covered into the single layer of a flattened epithelium. The minute branches of the bronchioles are known as the terminals of the bronchioles. The respiratory system, the respiratory bronchioles is expanded at it to form a alveolar duct. The alveolar duct leads to minute sac-like structures called as alveoli, where the exchange of gases occurs between air in alveoli and blood in capillaries. The main part of the respiratory system is lungs. There are 2 lungs. They are in a cone-shaped organs that lie in a thoracic cavity. The lungs are separated by the heart and the great Blood vessels, the space between two. Everyone, our today's topic of discussion is the respiratory system. Our body tissues utilize inhaled oxygen for metabolic processes and produce carbon dioxide in the process. The main aim of the respiratory system is to exert oxygen from the atmosphere and supply it to body tissues and take out CO2 from the tissues and expel it into the atmosphere. The lung expand to take air from the atmosphere which is rich in oxygen. The oxygen enters the lungs and it transferred to the blood in the pulmonary capillaries. This blood, which is now rich in oxygen, delivers to the tissues. The tissues utilize oxygen and produce CO2, which passes